relies on his outside shooting and creativity. He will have to take Georgia as they will go starting off the first round in the NIT.
Imagine this, we got two teams that want to play postseason basketball. Excited to be here with you in the Classic City. Russell Chiwa and Lazar Djokovic set to tip things up. Georgia, the home team in the white uniforms, controls the first possession.
It's going to be important for Georgia to establish themselves in the half-court set in really good action, trying to move the ball from side to side to get a quality shot.
Side to side goes Demery. He's off the mark, and the rebound controlled by Djokovic. Here come the Musketeers. Pick 6 in the Big East this year. Oliveri, a first touch. Too strong with a 3. Well, he's had some moments this year, Richard. He went for 43 against DePaul about a month and a half ago. He can go off in a hurry. And that went off the fingertips of the Joker and out of bounds.
Well, you can see Oliveri already looking for a shot in transition. Look for Xavier to pick up the pace, try to play at a fast speed, and take advantage when they can.
Bulldogs starting 5, Blue Kane, a freshman and a member of the ESPN 100, a 4-star prospect. Dylan James, start number 5, and Demery and Thomason dictate exactly what Georgia's chances are tonight. Good start for Dylan James. The jump hook off the back iron. Blue Kane skies in for the rebound.
And that's what Georgia's going to need all night long to get some offensive production from offensive rebounding. Second chance points will be very big for the Bulldogs.
Thomason launches an air ball out of bounds. Go back to the Musketeers. Xavier comes in, Richard, 16 and 17, 9 and 11 in the rough and rugged Big East. It was a team that dealt with a lot of injuries before the season even began. They lost their starting 4, their starting 5, and it took some time to kind of figure things out. They're led by the big 3, including Oliveri.
They're definitely going to do things a lot with their 3 guards. High volume guards get a lot done from the outside, but also in many ways.
Floaters off the mark by Des Claude.
Both teams are settling into their action, not able to hit the mark and execute in the half-court set. Postseason play, short notice, got to get their rhythm.
Still scoreless nearly 2 minutes in. Mike White, his second season in Athens, 1 game above 500 overall, matched his record from a season ago this year, although the Georgia people will tell you the metrics are a lot better, and they are. Former Florida head coach, also took Louisiana Tech on a run in the NIT back in the day.
Well, this is a Georgia team that looked really good early on in SEC play. Started to hit a little bit of a skid, but has picked it up as of late, getting a win in the SEC tournament and holding a very close game against Florida, a team who competed for the SEC championship and now in the NCAA's. A 1-possession game with under 2 minutes to go, so it shows what this Georgia team has been doing as of late.
Still in search of the game's first points, and Chiwa will head to the free throw line.
Really good move there by Russell Chiwa. Catching it on that elbow area with a nice sweep through, putting it on the deck, trying to get a high percentage shot at the cup.
Guzman picks up his first. Chiwa at the stripe this season. Respectable 68%. Started his career at Texas Tech, then went to South Florida. And if you talk to Russ this year, he'll tell you basketball kind of found him. Grew up in love with soccer. Moved from Cameroon to Europe.
Had a short amount of time in Italy, in Reggio Emilia. Team that has really good basketball, learning the game not only from soccer, but you can see a lot of the ways in the soccer concept that translate into his game. He plays a lot in the pinch post, and he utilizes his court vision and passing ability as a playmaker for a big man.
Well, bigs who play soccer have that footwork advantage, right? A
footwork advantage and the vision. You have to be able to see passing angles on both sides around you.
Oliveri fouled on the 3-point attempt by Blue Kane. 3 free throws coming for number 8 for Xavier.
Oliveri continuing to be aggressive, catching the ball, ready to shoot. Blue Kane a little too aggressive on the closeout, gets a piece of the shooter, and Oliveri going to the line.
81% at the stripe this year. And Quincy has 2 more coming. Musketeers led by Sean Miller, his 7th season overall between 2 stints. And of course, in between the head coach at Arizona. But he was in good spirits in our conversation with him earlier today. They made the trek down, stayed in Atlanta, drove over earlier today. But he feels like this team wants to play, has something to prove, like we mentioned off the top, Richard.
Well, they're excited to be here, you know, and that's a good thing, especially when you talk about Oliveri getting a chance to come and continue on. But it's good to see young players excited to play in postseason play. You really have to take advantage of the opportunities and the moments that you have to compete. And the two high-quality teams that are well coached out here in March competing is a joy to watch.
A joy. I like where you're headed with that commentary. Runner inside, and the bucket's good for Demery. Silas Demery, the freshman from Raleigh.
A beautiful cut there by Demery, getting freed up in the pass.
Usman with a mid-range.
Big shot there by Usman. It's what Xavier will need. Any production that they can get from Usman will definitely be to the advantage of the Musketeers.
Chiwa's got position. Inside, tries to power it up and cannot do it. The rebound controlled by Usman. Big 3 for the Musketeers. Des Claude, Oliveri, and McKnight. All 3 averaging in double figures. Off the turnover. So Chiwa dancing around and connects down low.
Great job on the defensive end. Active hands creating the turnover and then turning defense into offense. The big man, Chiwa, running his lane. Good patience on the catch. Laying it up for an easy 2.
Des Claude up. Not this time. And Thomas in the floater. Try to get it back. Usman corrals it. Xavier off and running. Oliveri, the step back triple. Now the Georgia native coming home wants to have a big night tonight. It's his first time playing basketball in his home state in college.
Pressing a little bit, trying to force it a little bit early in transition. A great shooter, got to let the game come to you. Then he'll be able to fill it up in bunches.
1-point advantage for the Dogs, make it 3. Chiwa inside.
Really good interior passing there. Silas Demery taking his time in the low post, dropping it off once again to Chiwa.
Long left open, that's a 3, and just like that, we're tied 5 minutes in.
That's a big shot there by Claude. Desmond Claude, known for his driving ability. When he can hit one from the outside, will be huge.
Dish inside, the bucket for Demery is second. So after an early rock fight, both teams have found their offensive rhythm. Djokovic off the bounce, blocked by James. Usman.
Really good contest, high hands activity from the Georgia defense.
Back and forth action to begin this first round game in the NIT. She was thinking about a heat check for a moment. Shot clock under 10, and here's a steal. McKnight. Euro and the finish.
Beautiful move. Taking his time, Davion McKnight. Both of these teams are both starting to settle into their offense. Georgia moving the ball around, getting it to Chiwa at that pinch post and cutting off of him, finding a lot of action to get freed up.
Dylan James, a jump hook off glass.
Good move by Dylan James, very patient, getting to his spots.
Oliveri nearly an air ball, it barely grazed the rim. Blue Kane controls. And Kane blocked out of bounds. It'll be Georgia basketball when we come back.
And make your pinpointed pass and be decisive when playing in the paint.
And those lane adjustments move the collegiate level lane width, the NBA and the international standards. Russell Chiwa certainly likes it. Georgia's got 10 points in the paint of their 12 so far, Richard.
Chiwa has done a tremendous job of getting some real estate down low, and the interior passing from the teammates creating easy buckets. But one thing about the experimental rule that I really like, for the collegiate game to get on the same page with the NBA and in the international game, I think it really gives a really good look to see what players can do as they transition to the professional level, because now they will be playing all with the same rules.
Sunahara inside was bumped and fouled. 10 and white to the line. Former National Division II Player of the Year, R.J. Sunahara. And Green picks up his first person.
Really good baseline out of bounds set drawn up there by head coach Mike White. Nice pass. Sunahara right in the middle of the paint, catching it high and keeping it high, drawing the foul into the line for 2.
I mean, that's big man 101. Remember that back on the JV team. Don't forget, for the 4th straight year, every NCAA Women's Championship game is on the networks of ESPN. For more information, go to NCAA.com, your home for all 90 NCAA championships. First 4 underway beginning tomorrow. We will see if Caitlin Clark or South Carolina or LSU can repeat. There's a lot of storylines this year on that side.
Yes, it is a great year for women's college basketball. So many dynamic players, great coaches, and great teams. Should be fun to watch.
Good look inside and contested at the rim. Miksha was rejected. Free throws coming for number 50, the Musketeers.
The crowd here seems to disagree with the call. Deloge seemed to contest that after beautiful interior pass, and to me,
a lot of ball.
A lot of ball on that one.
Derek Shannon, our referee tonight. Josue Nieves and Sean Seals facing this veteran officiating crew. Miksha 66% at the line. He'll get one more. Originally from Lithuania. His nickname Nemo. He played for the under-20 team, Slovenia, for the European Championship.
From Kaunas, Lithuania, the home of one of the better professional basketball teams in EuroLeague, Žalgiris. Had some really good Lithuanian players for that team. Arvydas Sabonis, to name a few. Name one. The Portland Trail Blazers.
How many years did you play overseas, Richard?
12 years internationally overseas. Many of the years in the EuroLeague and the Euro Cup. You get a chance to see a lot of really good players internationally, and as well to see some international players over here playing on these rosters.
Johnny picks up the foul. Sasha Johnny, who just checked in, a freshman. And that's going to put Demery at the stripe. 71% free throw shooter. Silas Demery, originally committed Southern California. We're backing out of that NLI. And here Georgia. Off to a good start tonight. Point number 5, he's got an assist as well. The mentality to survive and advance in the NIT. Like Mike White, I thought, said it best earlier today. He said it's not the ultimate goal, but it's a step in the right direction if we can win a couple of games here. I thought that that was framed perfectly in your mind as a player. What's it take?
Oh, well, you want to grow as a program first and foremost, but you know, the personal mentality of wanting to compete is what every player should have at any point of the season, but particularly in postseason play. There's a lot on the line. Anytime you have a postseason tournament, you have more opportunities to play with your team, develop your game, become a better player and a better teammate, and potentially compete for a championship. So you should always cherish every single moment that you have, and head coach Mike White has his team motivated, as well as Sean Miller in his high-level action in the NIT.
Dogs in a matchup zone. 7.5 minutes in. Open 3 off the back iron. Miksha off the mark. And here's Justin Hill, who just checked in, a full head of steam.
Turn it up to another gear.
And a steal. Melendez.
Wow. R.J. Melendez picking off that outlet pass and turn it into an easy 2 for the slam dunk.
Mike White told us he would utilize this matchup zone a good bit tonight. McKnight the floater. He'll get the bounce, and that's a soft rim.
And the Xavier guards can play on all 3 levels. When they get into that mid-range, beautiful touch on the floater game. And McKnight, once again, able to capitalize.
Justin Hill thought about it. Banks it home this time. The runner is good for 11 in white. The senior from Houston, Texas. Puts Georgia back in front by 6. Entertaining start. Dogs dominant in the paint so far with those 14 points. Runner by Green. And controlled by Deloach.
Slow transition break for Georgia. Playing with nice pace.
Tapped out of bounds. The
run that he had with Xavier, going to 5 straight NCAA tournaments, including an Elite 8. Some really good players on that roster. Derek Brown,
how about
Justin
the seal
Dolan.
that time for Claude.
Beautiful play coming out of the timeout. As you were saying, this is a Xavier program that's accustomed to winning. Winning is the tradition. And back on trying to get back into the winning ways.
Well, I thought about the pass. Now Usman, all net from 15.
Sweet stroke by Usman, trailing down.
But the art of the mid-range jumper, you don't see that a lot.
It's still alive.
Nate Oates would disagree with you, but Mike White told us point blank, we're going to have to make our shots today. He was talking about some mid-range Jays. Here's Hill left open, that's a 3, and that one's good.
And that was all created with that interior play of Russell Chiwa, creating a little bit of space down low and then kicking it out. Hill stepping right into that outside shot and knocking it down.
22-17. Hill's got 5. Oliveria's yet to score in this one, the leading scorer for the Musketeers. Back iron for Claude. Blue Cane was not going to allow Dylan James to secure that rebound.
No.
Hill again, an early heat check. This time it's all net.
Wow. Justin Hill sizing that one up, stepping back. Beautiful shot from the perimeter, extending this Georgia lead.
Hill's got 8. Xavier back to work. Djokovic, double team. Tried the dream shake. This time it's McKnight.
Xavier's got to get the ball moving around in the half-court set. As you mentioned, Oliveri not able to knock down one from the field and getting a clean look, but they got to get into their offense and turn up the pace of this game. They like to play fast. If they can move a little bit faster up and down the court, swing it around from the perimeter, they can get freed up and get a clean look.
Des Claude may have gotten away with a travel, the dump down. Usman, the flush.
Beautiful pass by Claude to Usman, and Usman doing the rest. But it was the relocation that he did on the baseline, making himself available to Claude for the interior pass.
Dogs have made 4 of their last 5. Hill has made 2 threes. Chiwa, no, not this time. Usman clears. And the lob was 17, didn't want it at first. Djokovic came up short. That's one you got to put down there.
And that's when you got to catch it high and keep it high. And he brought that back down below. His energy was lost. Gave the defense a little bit of chance to readjust and contest that shot, creating a miss.
Zar Djokovic gets the rebound on the other end off the Hill miss. Saw the graphic earlier. Xavier's never lost an NIT game in the first round. Undefeated 9-0 all time before this game tonight. Djokovic, back-to-back empty possessions. That's an eye-popping number to have never lost in the first round of the NIT. Both teams in the midst of a scoring drought again. Usman just kind of pushed it up there with one hand, and that'll work.
He's got a soft touch, and he's keeping them within striking distance. Usman taking on the load, knocking down the mid-range J, flashing, making himself available, trusting his technique.
I hear the common theme there in making yourself available. Usman has done it to the tune of. You start talking about players and you do a deeper dive. Well, a lot of guys start at different schools, and sometimes they're at program number 3. And in this game, perhaps even number 4. Hill coming off the bench, a reason that Georgia has been so prolific in bench scoring this year. You saw those numbers ranking in the top 25 nationally. Thomason, no! Deloach, yes.
Good follow-up there by Deloach with the tip dunk. And that's going to be a part for Georgia that's going to be huge for them. How active can they be on the offensive rebound? We talked to head coach Mike White, and he wants to see if he can continue to get that edge from his team by getting second chance points. In this game, he understands the pace in which Xavier's going to play, so if Georgia can get second chance points and keep them from running, it's going to be beneficial for them.
Now Jalen DeLoach, the bloodlines are certainly there. His brother Kalen, a former Florida State linebacker, and hanging in the air forever that time for 23 and white.
That was a beautiful finish. And great anticipation as he attacked the rim.
Nze at the stripe. Kachi, the freshman, banked in the first one. Hey, it counts, right?
Use the glass.
Use the glass from the charity stripe, you're telling me.
Hey, well, they teach you. The square's up there for a reason.
Even for free throws. I don't think if you gave me 10 shots at the line, you told me to bank one in as a free throw if I could hit any of them. That's just me.
Well, that's because you have a sweet stroke. You know, when you shoot with the way that you do, and you know,
I'll take that as a compliment.
With the string music, you don't need the backboard.
Dogs get it back, 4-point lead. Thomason in and out. And the rebound up and in. Frank Anselm eBay.
There's that activity once again by Georgia. Anselm eBay checking in and getting active right on the glass with the putback. 18 points in the paint for Georgia.
Nze connects. 3 points coming off of Sean Miller's bench. Kachi Nze. Xavier hanging around after absorbing a couple of early punches. And a foul called. Oliveri actually stepped over Silas Demery.
He did. Demery baiting him into the foul, coming off that 2 drag pick and rolls. Creating the contact and getting the foul. Savvy move by Demery. But Oliveri stepping over Demery, and there's an exception.
I don't think Silas enjoyed that moment.
Not too much.
Now we mentioned Quincy coming back to his home state of Georgia. He's got 42 friends and family in the building tonight. We talked to him before the game. He said, last night I could not sleep getting ready for this game. Anselm eBay, a spark off the bench.
Well, you know, he's coming back to his home state. Big-time scorer, wants to put on a show for his friends and family. Still a lot of time in this game. Hasn't gotten into his rhythm, but he can fill it up in quick ways.
Nze gets it back at a fresh 20. Des Claude with a hesitation. Justin Hill already with 8 points, and he wants some more. You can feel it. Approaching 5 to go in the half. And we'll push Claude back. Behind the back, a little stutter step. And off the foot of Demery.
Georgia got to get the ball reversed from side to side and get the defense moving. Some good action splitting off the post and screening from each other with the guards, but not really making the defense work too hard on the last possession, resulting in a turnover.
Johnny had to wait on the pass and nearly turns it over, and he does. Hill was able to tip it and graze the hands of McKnight. The 4th turnover of the evening for Xavier.
Great anticipation by Justin Hill on that skip pass. Getting a little piece.
Dogs back to work. Georgia 6-12 in the SEC this year. Got off to a great start. It's an early loss in overtime in Gainesville. It kind of derailed some of their postseason hopes to get to the big dance. Came back from 21 down in regulation, forced overtime, and then after that, Florida went one direction. Georgia went in a different direction. They rallied enough to make it to the NIT. And a foul on Anselm eBay.
Season. But until the season is over, you want to see the players play it out. There's a lot of time to improve upon your game. Get game reps, meaningful reps that can help translate you and give you momentum moving into the summer as you continue to grow as a player. You know, for many players, you're not going to have a long professional career, and even if you do have one, so you need to cherish the opportunity that you get a chance to put your jersey on, play in front of packed houses, and compete.
And you can still operate in the portal as you get your team ready to go for postseason play. And in fact, Mike White and his staff were doing that earlier today, evaluating names that are coming in, evaluating who they needed to go after, and then at the same time getting ready for Xavier here tonight.
Listen, the portal is still going to be open when your season is over with. The best way to give yourself a good opportunity to be on another team or even the same team for the next season of your liking would be to put on a good display and continue to play in front of potential teams that you might want to go to. But nonetheless, you've been competing with your team the entire season. An opportunity to win a championship is something that you should always take seriously.
Abu Usman has 10 for the Musketeers, approaching 3 to play in the half. The leads early for the Musketeers. You know, it was great seeing Kevin Connors last week on site, the Big 12 tournament. I just wanted to put that out there in the universe. Finally got out from behind that studio desk and crushed it out at the Big 12 tournament. Looking forward to the halftime report. Who can stop UConn in your opinion? I've got one team near them in the bracket that I think has a chance. That was Deloach with the layup.
Got to look at the Auburn Tigers.
Okay.
You talk about head coach Bruce Pearl and what they've been doing. The SEC champs winning the SEC tournament in big-time fashion. Janai Broom, one of the better interior players, not only in the SEC, but in America, and they'll get a chance to see that. They have a bevy of guards who can really do a lot. And when that depth is rolling and they can hit some outside shots and defend, Auburn can compete with anyone. So I look for the matchup that they can both advance. Should be one to watch.
I think it was Coach Greenberg that coined the phrase, they're like Noah's Ark. They've got 2 at every position. Melendez from the corner, and that's a triple. He's got 5.
Doesn't take long for R.J. Melendez to heat up.
Blocked from behind and a foul called. Dylan James snuck in at the last minute. Free throws coming. Iowa State would be another team to watch when you go back and look at that Big 12 title game. Houston was lucky to get to 35 points in that contest. Think about the clamps that were put down on Kelvin Sampson's team. Jamal Shedd never got going. Cyclones could be one of those teams that a lot of people are talking about in 3 weeks or so if they're not already. The NCAA Men's Basketball Championship First Four continues tomorrow. It's over on True TV with coverage beginning 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific. For more information on tournament game times and networks, go to ncaa.com.
The Iowa State team given a lot of motivation moving into that Big 12 championship game, as they were not seem to be picked at all to win that game. Everyone favoring Houston, the #1 team in the country. But, you know, you give a team a little bit of motivation, they can show you what they can do.
Dogs a motivated start here at home at Stegman Coliseum. The lead at 6. Only lead for the Musketeers came back at 5-4. Loach, attack baseline. Usman remains on the floor with the 2 fouls. And Claude controls a rebound.
Well, that's a tough fadeaway. And if you're Xavier, find yourself down 6. Oliveri hasn't got it going. Your leading scorer on the team. But you're right there in striking distance. That possession didn't fall in love with that one. A quick shot in transition coming up empty. Want to get some quality shots moving into the half so you can cut into this lead.
First bucket for Thomason, the lead back to 8. Djokovic left open from 15.
Soft touch for Djokovic.
Richard, we may have seen more mid-range jumpers in this game than I've seen all season.
And from the bigs, too. But they're shooting the jumper in their program. But some really good teams in that bracket. That 1 seed. And Hunter Salas, really good player for Wake Forest. As the Demon Deacons on that bubble could have made the NCAA tournament, but they find themselves as a #1 seed in the NIT. We'll see if they can be hungry to trying to bring home a championship.
From an ACC perspective, I thought that Wake Forest or Pittsburgh were more deserving of an appearance in the dance than Virginia, who got in. And there's Dylan James, who puts that one in.
And a crafty move in the low post.
James coming on late in his freshman campaign out of Winter Haven, Florida. Musketeers had a chance to go 2 for 1. Usman against James. He's got 10. We'll stay there. Shot clock is off. Dogs will play for the final shot.
Look for Justin Hill to get some things going, get into some action, as he's had the hot hand.
He has 8 points already, bumped on the perimeter. And that foul called on McKnight is second. Dogs in the bonus. 7.4 seconds remaining in our first half.
A very savvy move by Justin Hill, recognizing the situation as the defense pressed up into him. Made a quick move to get him off, drawing the foul, get an easy opportunity to score with 7.4 to go in the half.
Mentioned Hill started his career at Longwood. One more free throw coming. First 2 seasons there, and now coming off of Mike White's bench. I would go back to the end of that Florida game we just talked about. They were down 21. Hill had a chance to win the game in Gainesville. And the Dogs unable to get a shot off at that time. Kind of tripped and stumbled.
A critical turnover in the clutch that really could have made a difference in that game.
Dogs with a foul to give. They'll utilize it. 4.1 remaining. Xavier will inbound it. Try to cut that deficit down to single digits.
Very important possession. You're coming after a timeout. You got an opportunity to draw up a set. You're going to get a quality look. Oliveri hadn't been able to get a clean look and knock one down.
Melendez, another steal. R.J. Melendez. Devastating sequence for Xavier at the end of the half.
It's R.J. Melendez once again in the passing lanes.
Play like that about 5 minutes previous.
Momentum changer. Stepped right into the game, ready when his number was called. Stepped in, made plays on the defensive end, and got himself on the scoreboard. Made a big difference and changed the complexion of this ball game. You talk about with 1 minute and 19 seconds to go, it's a 6-point game, but a 6-0 run to finish out the half by Georgia, going to the half, giving them a bigger lead.
Claude's got 9, a good start for Xavier. First touch for the Dogs on offense. Musketeers have never lost a first-round game in the NIT. 9-0 all-time. Thomason the drive and the finish.
Beautiful job by Noah Thomason. Getting defender on his heels, driving strong to the middle, coming to a jump stop and finishing. We're seeing a lot of fundamentals in this game. Jump stops, bank shots.
The big man mid-range.
Mid-range Jays. What's going on?
Claude was fouled. He's going to shoot 2. Thomason with 4. He's really yet to kind of get going, but a good start here in the second half.
Extra pass, kicking it out, got a little jab, get the defender moving one way. Easy lane, Thomason finishing in the paint.
Des Claude at the stripe, 80% free throw shooter, one of the key contributors a year ago. And Xavier's run to the Sweet 16, and we mentioned it. Xavier ousted in the Big East by defending national champion UConn. Sean Miller's team defeated Butler, the 8th seed, before that setback. But it was a team that came into the season with high expectations. Lost its starting 4 and its starting 5 before the start of the year. The big 3 have been there. The question is, can somebody else step up tonight to keep their season alive?
Well, they definitely had a lot of change and growing as a team throughout the season. Different type of expectations pre-season. But as you mentioned, getting contributions from Usman in this game, another rebound in the paint and traffic for him.
Oliveri steps into a 3 and drains it.
And there he goes, Quincy Oliveri, getting going in the second half. After struggling from the perimeter in the first half, finally finding his rhythm, took his time right there, stepping into that off the bounce and knocking it down.
Chua, a couple of monster steps off the mark, tapped out. It'll stay on this end.
And when you got your family in the house, you want to settle into it with the shot fake, one bounce. Quincy Oliveri and his family's loving it, knocking down the tray ball. He's got to get himself going. The big-time scorer here can fill it up quickly.
It's Mom Courtney's dad, Gerald, in the house, an Atlanta native. We saw them standing up moments ago. Thomason drains a 3. Shot clock running down, no problem at all. 3 and White starting to catch fire. He's got 7, and they're going to take a look at that sequence to make sure that he got it off before that shot clock expired, Richard.
Wow, Noah Thomason starting to feel it in a zone, understanding the shot clock and the situation. Knew he had time behind the back, step back, cash money, no doubt about it.
He had almost a full second to spare to get that one up and in, and he got it. That bucket is good. The lead back to 11.
That's a beautiful and a tough move. Behind the back, snatch you and knock it down. The poise, the awareness and presence of mind of that shot clock going down. Big shot by Thomason to increase this lead to 11 for the Bulldogs.
2 minutes into the half. Dogs lead by 11. Oliveri off the foot of Thomason. No over and back. Claude has been steady until that pass, too much zip and out of bounds.
And important to make a nice pinpointed pass, but Georgia back to the break.
Blue Cane up and in, and a chance for three.
And that's outstanding recognition by Georgia. Getting the ball in quickly. Poor defensive transition and awareness by Xavier to get back. Kicking it ahead to Blue Cane and taking advantage of it with an easy and one.
Cane originally signed with Georgia Tech. Yellow Jackets made a coaching change. And the ESPN 100 player made it number 55 in 4 stars. 3 the hard way. Lead up to 14. That is the largest of the night. Xavier needs this one. Claude able to bring in the rebound. The jump ball gives it back to Georgia. So McKnight missed the 3. When you can feel momentum clearly on the side of the home team from the SEC.
And it started at the end of that first half. You talk about Melendez. That is something that you can really get the energy going, to get a steal, to finish that off, starting off on a 6-0 run to start the second half, but also ending the first half on a 6-0 run. Georgia with the energy.
It sounds like about a 12-point differential right there.
Well, I wasn't a math major, but I think you're about right there. Add another one, 14-point game. But this is a point if you're Xavier. You're going to have to make a defensive stand and put together a string of stops to get back in this game.
Comes Blue Cane looking like Steve Nash for a moment, dribbling under the basket. Thomason, no. Djokovic over Chiwa. Corrals the rebound.
Good help rebound by Djokovic, coming in, helping out as Usman was getting handled by Chiwa.
Very short. Dimery the rebound.
Oliveri settling a little too much for the outside shot. He has more in his game.
And Blue Cane's shot sails out of bounds. They've gotten off to a great start in front of the home crowd at Stegman Coliseum. And we mentioned in the first half, Richard, both teams wanted to be here. Sean Miller reiterated that to us about an hour before tip. We talked to our big 3. All the guys want to finish this season strong. Mike White said, you know what, it's not the ultimate goal, but it's a step in the right direction. We had the group text going before Selection Sunday. We want to be here too.
And that's exactly the attitude you want to have in this tournament. Georgia definitely showing that they're definitely here playing high-quality basketball. That's a good sign right there by Claude getting into the teeth of that defense, drawing a foul for Xavier, coming after the timeout. Really good to get something going into the basket, drawing a foul and free throw to try to switch up the momentum of this game.
Is there anything else you want to see differently? Claude has stuffed the stat sheet so far. We'll need more of that from him, but in terms of other guys that need to contribute a little bit more, what do you want?
Well, I know Oliveri is a tremendous outside shooter, shooting over 41% for the season, but he has relied a little too much on his outside shooting early in transition, and they've been contested shots. He has the ability to put it on the deck and create something off the bounce. If he does that, that will free up more things for him on the outside shot. Xavier getting the ball moving around will get them back in this ball game.
Thomason, a strong finish, 9 points after that layup at the rack. Claude the lob, Djokovic. Got caught in no man's land.
And Georgia switching up the defense, causing a little bit of confusion. At this point, you have to recognize, as Mike White would say, they will change their defense from man to zone, show a lot of different looks at you.
Great look to Dylan James, triple teams. And falling away. Caroms off of Claude's feet, out of bounds, back to Georgia.
Good look on that last possession. Once again, Georgia hitting Russell Chiwe in the pinch post. He's a beautiful pass just not able to finish amongst the bigs. But the way that they are able to utilize Russell Chiwa and his passing ability from the high post.
Kane stepped out of bounds. Have you noticed any difference with the wider lanes we talked about in the first half tonight?
Well, it really has not impacted Georgia. Chiwa getting a lot of points in the paint, 32 points in the paint. But it has, if you've seen a couple of plays, not able to get as deep a post position, have to start your post-up plays a little bit further out. But both teams have made an adjustment to the enlarged lane.
Part of the reason you can't camp out with that wider lane is there's more real estate to have a 3-second call and a violation that would result in a turnover. So that's part of that rule change. Also here in our second half, the way that timeouts are utilized in terms of the official media timeouts are altered a little bit. We'll talk more about that. Musketeers without a field goal in 3.5 minutes. Oliveri will try to change that, not this time. Melendez controls.
And a good switch there by Georgia. Demery and Deloach communicating well, getting a contested shot on Oliveri.
Melendez the runner. Chiwa bounced it right to Djokovic. Oliveri turns it over. Chiwa controls. 3 on none. And it's been a dunk party for R.J. Melendez since he came off of the bench early in this one.
And that one was created with the active hands off the pass, getting a piece of it, creating the turnover, and the easy two.
Another steal. This time it's Hill. And Demery was hacked in the face, it looked like. R.J. Melendez, 9 points. He's been operating in transition all night.
You're going to be able to operate easily when you're getting high percentage shots like that. 3 dunks in this game. Melendez off to the races in transition.
Second foul on Quincy Oliveri.
You know, that's a skill that Melendez has. To have a neck to understand how to get ahead of the pass, to get the easy layup, the anticipation to steal balls on the break.
Sean Miller going deeper into his bench. Colbert checking in. Bradley Colbert has played in 8 games so far this year. Make it 9, 45 for Xavier. And the Dogs cash in with another Demery J.
That's a tough shot there by Demery. On the baseline, mid-range, stepping back on a contest. Phenomenal.
Dogs in the midst of a 6-0 run and on the move. Melendez, a heat check.
Filling it. Wow.
And Sean Miller has seen enough. He's gone against some of the best competition out there. And for Georgia fans thinking ahead to next season, hey, you want to get a core group of your guys back on that squad. You got Asa Newell coming in. His brother also plays for this team this year. Lob to Melendez, and that was out of sync. But a foul called against the Musketeers.
You're absolutely right. Getting a difference maker to come into the program.
Right.
You know, you have some players that can change the game. Some can change the scoreboard and the win column as well. So you have that type of player coming into this Georgia Bulldog program. Has to have head coach Mike White thrilled.
You talk to those around this program, fans of the team here in Athens. I don't know that that's mentioned enough. And the recruiting that's happening there, they've got a commitment coming into the next class. It's also in the ESPN 100. Here's Deloach downstairs and dunks it home right in the face of Des Claude.
And that's a statement dunk right there if you're Deloach. The tone of how this game is for Georgia, wanting it to be in this NIT and competing. But a lot of time left in this game with over 13 to go. If you're Xavier, you're going to have to recognize this zone that Georgia is jumping into. Going to have to try to get into the middle and get a quality shot.
Oliveri, no. Usman rescued that possession. And the first field goal in nearly 6 minutes finally drops. That stops an 11-0 Georgia run. Musketeers have never lost in the first round of the NIT. Anselm Ebay just checked in. Cooper dives for it. Melendez controls it. There's the rotation and the 3.
Beautiful, unselfish basketball. swinging around the horn, finding Demery. 3-ball, corner pocket.
McKnight, the response, the mid-range.
A 20-point deficit at some point. Xavier's going to have to think about picking up the defensive pressure to try to create some turnovers, get some steals, get some stops, and try to chip away at the lead of Georgia.
Richard, Dogs are shooting 52%. And Slim eBay fouled on the way up. And if that's Usman, that is his third, and it is.
Ninth offensive rebound for Georgia. As we mentioned, Mike White said they wanted to make sure that they pound the offensive grass, try to get second chance opportunities. Anselm eBay stepping back into the game and getting another board, getting back to the free throw line.
Frank started his career at Syracuse, couple of seasons up at the Dome. And for the 4th straight year, every NCAA Women's Championship game is on the networks of ESPN. For more information, go to ncaa.com. Your home for all 90 NCAA championships. Think about South Carolina undefeated. Dawn Staley going for the 3rd national title. They came up short last year at the hands of Caitlin Clark in the Final Four. 5 million people watched that game. 10 million watched the national championship between LSU and Iowa. There are storylines galore in the women's NCAA tournament this year.
Must-see TV. A lot of really good teams in the NCAA tournament field on the women's side. Looking forward to watching them.
Nze with a floater. Lead at 18. Thomason gets 3 right back.
Beautiful job by Thomason, freeing himself off that screen. Oliveri pressing a little bit, relying a little too much on the 3-point shot, particularly in transition. You know, I'd like to see a player of that shooting caliber utilize his shot fake more. You know, when you have that type of shot fake ability, you're able to get defenders off of you, get a little closer.
Bang home the 3 that time. And 106 career three-pointers, or rather this season. That establishes a new single-season record for Xavier. Oliveri has been sensational this year. You go back to the win against DePaul. Reported 43 points. Musketeers, more importantly, trying to extend their season, give him another chance at another game. McKnight missed the layup. Claude gets a 3, and that'll drop.
Claude with an outside shooting stroke.
21% from deep coming into the game. He's hit 2 triples tonight.
And a big one to chip into this lead. Got a little run, 6-0 run for Xavier to cut into this. The 15-point game. A lot of time left. They just have to get.
And the lob to Anselm eBay. The fact that timeouts, the official media timeouts in the second half, a bit of a different rhythm there. Remove one of the floaters, trying to keep the pace of the game intact. 15-point game, Blue Cane. And a foul inside. That goes against Xavier. Nze called for the infraction. That'll be his first. And the Dogs being the bonus the rest of the way here, Richard.
Big baseline out of bounds opportunity. The new wider lane creating more space for those in the cutting when you're lining that up.
Width of the lane widening by 4 feet, 12 to 16, matching rules of the NBA and the international game. Here's Dylan James. 3 to shoot, stuffed by Djokovic. And finally claimed by the Musketeers. Oliveri. And Thomas in the rebound. That goes back to what you were talking about. You'd like to see 8 for the Musketeers get to the rim a little bit more often. He can score.
It's a lot of time in this game. And you know, you're not going to have a 15-point shot. I know Xavier is down and, you know, a prolific 3-point shooter. But if you watch all of the best 3-point shooters, they set up their 3-point shot by taking the twos. You run them off the line. They know that you're going to shoot it. Utilize your shot fake in the bounce to get a little closer. And then as you soften up the defense, then you take the threes.
Nze the stuff And again. Well, 2 blocks for Xavier's big man, and we'll see if that provides a spark as it finally goes back to the Musketeers.
Outstanding effort there by Enze. The rejection, hustling back in transition, and a beautiful block. Keeping his hands high, excellent timing.
The first block for number 15 on your screen there. The ball just kind of caromed out awkwardly off of Hill's hands. That's how much velocity it felt like Enze was coming down with on the Georgia guard. And Sean Miller in search of some answers here. He's yet to find them on the road tonight.
That's the type of spirit that you want to see. Those type of blocks are demoralizing. When you have 2 blocks in one possession with the aggression in which Enze went at that, that's something that can spark your team offensively.
How about that drive, the penetrating move, cuts the lead down to 13. Desmond Claude
easing to the basket with that nice move. See the athleticism on display and a beautiful extension on that finish.
Richard, the Dogs just 1 for their last 8 from the floor. Hill, the runner. Chiwa on the offensive glass.
It's a possession if you're Xavier, have to finish with the box out. The second chance opportunity really cost the Musketeers. You have an easy chance to get that rebound in a 13-point ball game. Allow Chiwa to push you up under the goal for the offensive rebound, giving them a second chance, and Blue Cane makes you pay, extending this back up to a 15-point lead.
Kane's got 6, Claude short, Chiwa controls. Under 8 minutes to go in Athens. Winner of this game gets the winner of Wake Forest and Appalachian State. Game taking place up in Winston-Salem at Joel Coliseum. And Oliveri was bumped by Blue Cane. 7:30 to go in the first round of the NIT. Georgia leading Xavier by 5 in great shape. And that was during his time at USF, so it came down to that staff, and he made sure that he was ready to go when the visa cleared and he was back in the States. But you love that work ethic.
Oh, that's what I love to see. If young players need to take anything away from that, it's the understanding of the importance of strength and conditioning and nutrition. If you want to play in big-time games in March, the work is done in the summer months of June and July. Getting your body in shape, getting yourself healthy and strong so you can have the endurance to make long runs in the season and be big-time in big games. And that's why Russell Chiwa is making the difference out here.
Justin Hill making a difference tonight. Stuffed that time by Usman. Lead down to 13. Musketeers trying to make a run. Chiwa's got 6 points, 4 assists tonight.
Georgia making the adjustment, hedging on the pick and rolls with Claude.
Djokovic thought about it. The runner, 2 giant steps. And a blocking foul called. Results in 2 free throws. 6.5 to go. Tell me what you see here with the feet.
Great effort by Sunahara. I thought he actually was there as he was there taking on the charge, but a tremendous defensive effort. You know, that's one of those plays when the coaching staff goes back and look at this possession with 6:29 on the game. You're going to see 2 hard hedges by Sunahara, stopping the ball screen, running back in the line of the pass, and then rotating over after Chiwa contests the shot and taking a charge in the chest. Unfortunately for him, not rewarded with the charge called, but that's the type of effort on the defensive end that all coaches want to see from their players.
Lazar Djokovic disagrees with that assessment, by the way. He gets 1 more free throw. Got 4 points and 6 boards tonight, looking for number 5.
Hey, I would too. You know, in my opinion, I never charged a person. They were all blocks.
Dogs just 1 for their last 9, and here we go. Xavier trying to get back in it. They've trailed by as many as 23 points in this second half. Demery. Silas Demery Jr. with 14. Lead back to 13. Des Claude.
Good recognition there by Desmond Claude and Xavier. Understanding when Georgia's dropping back into that zone, they're switching up defenses. The recognition of the guards has to be immediate. You have to come down the court and quickly diagnose what are they doing. Are they getting into the zone? Are they getting in man? Are they hedging on ball screens? But you cannot let the ball stay still in your hand. Keep it moving, recognize, and execute quickly.
Buccaneer makes it a single-digit deficit. Where will the offense come from? Djokovic, the push-off. Missed it twice from point-blank range. Oh, they're letting him play. And Chiwa chases it down.
Tremendous effort on the defensive end.
More contact, and this time a whistle. Demery hit the deck. Djokovic did as well. And a foul called against Xavier.
A little too aggressive by Djokovic on that hedge and the ball screen. I like the idea of being aggressive. 5 minutes and 12 seconds to go into the game, trying to make a play in an 11-point game. Got that call right. I mean, listen, I know you want to have the player safety for the players and protecting of the head and neck area, but in some moments in the game, there's going to be some inadvertent contact. And you see in that situation, Silas Demery hits the deck, but he pops up immediately. It's the effort plays by Djokovic on the other team trying to get his play back into it. To me, no harm, no foul. But a good call by the officiating crew to have a common foul and get the game back going.
Dogs in the bonus. Demery missed the front end of the 1-and-1.
Head coach Sean Miller is barking to his team, get to move and move quickly, diagnose the offense quickly, get into your sets and create some plays.
But Des Claude has been reliable tonight. This is a 3, and that continues. And don't look now, but here comes Xavier. The lead down to 8.
And that's a big shot. This Georgia team has had times all season long holding on the leads in the second half.
Melendez breaks free. Patient finish, pays dividends. And a timeout called by Mike White.
Not over dribbling the ball and finishing at a high clip. This is a 20% three-point shooter who's 4 for 5 in this game. It's because he's getting his feet set, lining it up, taking his time, and then he's knocking it down.
Xavier's never lost in the first round of the NIT. Claude, the Big East's most improved player this year. Now a sophomore from New Haven, Connecticut. Trying to keep that streak intact. Here's Claude, bump. Inze, the handoff. And a long ways around the rim when he was right there.
Inze's got to do a much better job of shaping up. Claude doing a tremendous job making the defense commit. You got to shape up closer to the basket in the dunker, Scott, and finish that one and cut into the lead.
Inze, a one-handed rebound, powerful fashion. Bump on McKnight. Dogs still with 2 more fouls to give. It'll be Xavier basketball when we come second half, and Xavier has possession with a chance to trim this deficit a little more.
This is a huge baseline out of bounds opportunity to get into it, but Des Clark and what he's doing, the patience, the poise, the craftiness. 20 big points in the second half alone, and 7 for 9 shooting, 3 for 3 from the three-point line, and a 20-point three-point shooter, three-point shooter, and another one.
5 of 6 from distance. 30 on the board for Des Claude. And the lead down to 7. 3.5 to go. Thomason was hit by Usman. That's his 4th.
And Usman's upset with himself, and for good reason. As they went into that pick and roll, he created too much distance between him and his man, allowing the screen to be set, and he was in no man's land as Thomason was coming off the ball screen, tried to cut back against it and snake it, and picked up an easy foul.
Some early upsets potentially in the NIT. You just heard about North Texas, the Mean Green on the road down in Baton Rouge. Thomason off the mark on the front end of the 1-and-1. Where's Des Claude? That would be my question for Xavier. There he is. The defense was there. He was met with resistance, and the shot was blocked.
Great verticality on the contest.
Thomason's got the ball in a string when he goes behind his back like that.
Georgia needs a bucket in a big way.
Dogs led by 23, 65-42. Early stages of the second half. Xavier has made a couple of runs to get back in it.
McKnight missed Usman on the roll.
Djokovic for three, and that's good. Lazar Djokovic, his 6th three of the season, and the lead down to 4.
And no bigger three than that one. They have not been able to good look in the last few possessions with the 6-0 run of Xavier. And Xavier looking to extend the pressure.
Georgia rallied, 17 down against Florida State back in December, came back and won. Mentioned the near comeback in Gainesville. Blown some leads, come back for some very big deficits. And tonight, this one would take the cake. Shot clock at 14, no foul call. Demery will inbound it. The point is, Richard, it's a team that sometimes you just don't know what you're going to get. Demery's got to go, 5 to shoot. Here's Thomason off the high ball screen. Melendez gets it back. Djokovic skies for the rebound, nearly tipped it in.
Nearly. Xavier very fortunate on that last possession. Thomason with a clean look, coming off that ball screen. If you're Usman, you got to be connected to your man. End of shot clock situation. Have to be higher on the pick and roll defense to switch and contest.
Trapping pressure on Claude. Oliveri's been held in check. Shot clock down to 3. McKnight triggers a long 2.
Wow.
76-74.
Poise and execution of the Musketeers clawed their way right back into this one. And one stop away from getting the possession to try to take the lead.
Justin Hill getting downhill. Thomason barely drew iron. Here comes Xavier. And Sean Miller's going to call a timeout. An unbelievable turn of events here in Athens.
You know, the substitution that was made in this game.
In the midst of a 32-11 run with possession. Richard Hendrickson a chance to go back in front.
And this is why you play in postseason play, to come out here and showcase what you can do.
Under a minute to go. Here's Claude, the hot hand. Lost it.
Wisely bringing it out, Silas Demery.
Melendez came up with an enormous play defensively. And he let Claude hear about it after the fact. The shot clock already at 10.
They're going to go isolation.
Demery to the rack, and he drained it. 2-possession game. McKnight, foul.
Good decision by McKnight to turn on the gas, try to get downhill and get an easy basket, and taking the 2. But the switch and isolation situation almost blocked, but Silas Demery able to get that one up on the glass, and enough energy in the ball as it finds its way around the cup and in.
Xavier gets possession. It's not a shooting foul, and McKnight will trigger. Demery with 16, no 2 bigger than that last bucket there.
Head coach Sean Miller is talking with the referee. So he was driving, shooting.
I thought he was shooting.
I thought he was too. He was driving to the basket in transition downhill.
And a turnover. Sean Miller stepped across the line. He had already been warned. And Georgia gets it back. Near the top of your screen. Oh, he stepped out. Yeah, it was Claude that stepped out. Jump ball on the inbounds.
I think they called a foul, actually.
Did
the reach in.
They did call a foul. Well, that last sequence,
for Xavier. 3 tough calls in a row. You come down in transition in what seemed to be
a line. And he missed the front end of the 1-and-1. McKnight taking off and connecting. Back to a 1-possession game.
And a wise decision by McKnight. You try to put him on the free throw line, but knowing who you want to funnel the ball in, as Georgia seems to be putting their best free throw shooters into the game, is going to be an important decision if you're Xavier getting into foul mode.
Melendez corralled. And a jump ball called. Georgia maintains possession. Excellent job by Xavier as they inbound the ball.
Everybody converges, and Oliveri getting in there and tying it up.
9.3 to go. Emery's got to find somebody. He does. It's Hill. They got to foul him. And Hill, did he step out? He did.
Yes.
Xavier forces the turnover and will get the basketball back, trailing by just 2.
Tremendous job by Xavier, not falling under pressure, understanding you have time. Trap him, force him into the turnover, steps out of bounds, still have plenty of time. A massive turnover there by the Bulldogs.
It's been the coffin corner over on that side of the floor. 6.4 seconds remaining. 2 to tie, a 3 to win. Oliveri, the runner, pinned by Chiwa. And they will count the basket and review that sequence.
I don't know. This is one that they're definitely going to have to look at, as Russell Chiwa rotated over to go and look to see if he blocked that shot.
Goaltending the call. For the moment, we are tied.
Yeah. But Oliveri, I felt like Chiwa did get that one clean, rotating over from the weak side, getting that one at the apex of the block. Going to be interested to see what the call is going to be. The fans in Stegman Coliseum think this one's going to awareness of Usman and Djokovic to continue to play after the block, corralling the ball, giving them the possession. 1.9, an opportunity for the game.
And Mike White does have a timeout remaining. He's going to utilize that break. Talk with his team one more time. The last 15 seconds, he's the hero. Just 11 points. He came in averaging nearly 20.
Now this is interesting in this baseline out of bounds set. You got the sharpshooter of Oliveri taking the ball out. Keep an eye on him. 1.9 seconds is enough to catch it and kick it back, depending on the set. But might he have been drawing something up to go for 2, but an interesting call to have your shooter take it out on the baseline.
The play is under review.
And they're going to pause the action one more time.
The ruling on the court is Xavier basketball.
Xavier has possession. And Richard, I believe they want to look one more time to make sure that that actually is the case after that original extended review.
Well, from my view, it looked like Usman got the offensive rebound and tried to put it back in, but Djokovic continued to play after the whistle in pursuit of the basketball for Georgia to lock in and communicate in this set to hold on.
Last 15 seconds have taken about 15 minutes. Xavier with a chance. Claude has it. At the buzzer. He missed the shot. It was rejected. And that's